Known a family that just has that one child that seems to be always sick, or maybe you were that child when you were growing up? Well, I'm going to give you 3 ways that commonly happens and what we see in the office. So the first one starts with birth trauma. So when you think about it, birth is one of the most traumatic things that you go through in life, and that puts a ton of strain on, even in a perfect birth, on the baby's neck. Now, when that happens, it can create misalignments in the top part of the neck. Babies can't tell us, obviously, that they're having pain, so that can lead to things like colic or reflux. But either way, it creates torque on what's called the vagus nerve, which is a nerve that controls the parasympathetic nervous system. It's a big word, but basically the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is that fight or flight part of the brain. So again, it creates a stress response in the body that releases something called cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone that then affects the immune system. So then that often leads to the kids getting sick more often, and then that often leads to like chronic ear infections, chronic colds, and then the parents often turn to antibiotics, or the pediatricians. So the chronic antibiotic use not only kills the bad bacteria, but also kills the good bacteria in the child's gut. 2/3 of your immune system resides in your gut. That can lead to things like leaky gut syndrome, and again, more cortisol, more stress response. And you can imagine it's like a perfect storm of stuff that's all happening that leads to the child getting sick more often and more often, and that leads to a lot of other issues. So what we do in the office is we look for the subluxations, the problems that arise in the first place from birth, and we actually try to fix that. And by doing that, we release positive endorphins and actually prevent that whole cycle from starting. And then if your child is sick and constantly sick, what we look to do again is kind of work our way back and fix some of those issues so that the child's able to function better, and then they get sick less often. I have so many amazing testimonials from parents and kids that have come in who either had things like colic and reflux or ear infections get better in babies, or even older kids that have had a lot of other things happen over time that are now getting sick less often. And again, it all has to do with just simply helping their bodies to function better, because again, when you're in a high stress state, anyone that's ever known anyone with an autoimmune issue knows flare-ups happen when you're stressed. So again, same thing happens when you're a kid or even an adult. When you're stressed out, you're more likely to get sick, more likely to have problems. So if you know anyone that has a child that's struggling with just being chronically sick, or you want more information about how we're able to help so many kids in our office, please comment below, email us back. We'd love to be a resource for you. But either way, I hope you're having an amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon.